Mr. Zegna, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us on Bloomberg TV India. A very warm welcome to you. We don't see you very often in this part of the world, but, you know, I get a chance to interact, and many of these family businesses all around the world. I had a chance to speak to the family of Audemars Piguet, the Swiss watchmakers, Harley Davidson. My question to them is that there is a whole legacy behind you. In your case, we're looking at 100 years behind where this legacy has been created. You're the fourth generation of the Zegna family. How difficult is it to be able to sustain in this kind of competitive environment this kind of legacy and take it ahead?
Good question. To start with.
Yes.
I think it's a challenge, but I think it's a mindset, you know. Probably we are born with that. I mean, each generation, we have a saying, our family has to build a new floor of the house. And so I think that we are born with that, and we make it happen. Some part of that is natural. Some, you know, you grow with that. And then, you know, if you want to be part of the big league, you have just to perform. And I think it's up to the new generation to make it happen with the right team, with the same vision, with the same discipline, with the same value, but just adjusting to the times.
Right.
You know, outside, the outside market determines the speed of action.
Right.
So if you want to be part of the game, you have to react accordingly. And I think it's our decision whether we want to be part of the game of the big luxury world or not. Our answer is yes, and so we have to act accordingly. So it's a choice that each family or each brand has to make. And if the answer is yes, is to adjust and make it happen.
So when was that choice that you made personally, that this is a brand, this is a legacy you're going to take on? When did it actually hit you? Because there must have been a process that you must have gone through where you came into your own as well, and you grew up in that kind of environment.
But you know, the fact that my name is after the brand, I mean, surely it pushed, it was quite a little bit of pressure on my shoulder.
Already, right? Where did you feel the pressure?
But maybe when I left college, and you know, at that point I was in my early 20s, and they said, okay, what next? And I think that my dad was very helpful because he supported me without pushing me, and he gave me all the ingredients to make it happen in terms of education, in terms of traveling, in terms of giving me the chance to you know, make my own choices without imposing. And then I made the choices. I was trained, you know, in summer. I remember that the summer, yes, was a short vacation, but it was, you know, some good training, either in working in factories or in working in stores, or just outside the brand, in understanding, and most of them outside Italy.
I see.
Understanding foreign cultures, getting to know different people from different milieu of the society, speaking different languages, interacting with different mindset. I think that culture was really different culture. The game of different culture was really part of my education. And I think luxury is about dealing with different cultures and with different personalities and competing. I think that the world of competition outside is a jungle.
And it truly is, especially in the luxury world right now. It is very difficult. And to hold your own as a family enterprise, recently we've seen Harry Winston getting absorbed by the Swatch Group. You know, so there are people out there who are very willing to take on what you've created so meticulously over so many generations, fourth generation now. So, you know, and 100 years of history, like I started off by saying. To be able to sustain it is one thing, to make it grow, to be able to diversify at the right time, and the pace of growth is something else that you mentioned. What does it take to hold your own in this kind of competitive environment?
Yeah.
In real terms.
Yeah, which you were talking, I was smiling because there is a word in Italian that says it all, sereno, serenity. Being calm, being you know, sure that what you're doing is the right thing. One of the things we never did is to make a step longer than your leg. I don't know whether that gives you
Absolutely.
the connotation.
Yes.
so that
not go beyond what you have, what you're capable of.
What you're capable of, and I think this it limits in a way, but I mean it avoids crashing or having to sell your business or your brand because it's too much.
Right.
So this is fundamental. I think that says it all. Discipline on one side and financial autonomy on the other side.
Now, I want to go back into the past, since you are so happy going back into the past. You entered India in 1999 and then you withdrew. Now, there was a vision over there when you set foot in the country, but then you saw something that really spooked you.
Yeah.
What happened? What was the thought?
Yeah, you know our history well, so
yes,
I can't hide anything. One of the, it's not only India. Maybe if I might say where we were mistaken is that sometimes we stepped in too early. One of the gender of the Zegnas are that they have, besides being entrepreneur, so we are risk taker, we are pioneers. Starting from my grandpa, I always make the example, 1937, Grandpa Ermenegildo created Zegna USA.
Right.
And to sell his beautiful Italian clothes to Italian tailors who immigrated to New York,
right.
In Brooklyn. This is an example I'd like to make in which we tried always to anticipate times. Sometime we did too early, probably in 1999. We were not ready for India, India was not ready for us. And I think that we started with the franchising, with a store on the street, which was totally wrong. But in judging by the numbers, the operation did not work out for whatever reason. That maybe half and half. The real coming back was in 2006 when the foreign rule changed. I mean, and you could control your own company, and so we created
100% FDI.
Yeah.
In single brand retail, when that was introduced and when you first heard about it.
2006.
Yes.
2006, I think it was us and another luxury brand that decided to step in.
Yes.
We created our own company with the majority of us, and then we had local partners, and we start operating, from our own store at the Taj, and that was the start of the learning curve.
What was the first thought when you heard that the market is opening up in India? When you first heard about it?
Good question. That was, let's position the time, it was 2006. In that time, Zegna was already quite an important entity in China. So the first thing I thought was about, okay, if we are that successful and that big in China, one day we'll be as successful and maybe not as big, because then China has become the biggest market of ours worldwide, even before the United States, starting in 2010. That was my thought process.
Right.
Then later on, 2010, we had the opportunity to link in with Reliance, that is the retail part of the Mr. Ambani empire,
yes.
That expressed an interest, to go into luxury and into retail. And so we entertained, I remember, an interesting conversation to understand, how serious they were and how prepared we were, to have such an important partner, a meaningful partner. After a long negotiation with Mr. Darshan, that represents Reliance retail part of the business, we decided to go for that, and we decided to expand our business into a network of 5 stores, 2 in Mumbai, 2 in Delhi, and 1 in Hyderabad. And I must say that we see some interesting growth and some interesting evolution. However, not with the intensity that I expected from the beginning.
No.
And why? Because I think that India is a different market, and you have to really understand that luxury is part of your culture and comes from a long history, and you have to respect that. And I'm not sure how much the Indian affluent clientele are attracted to luxury brand as they are, talking about the real branding phenomenon, as they are in other countries like China and Brazil, I make two other, or Russia, for instance.
Right. When you're talking about the BRIC nations,
exactly.
India stands out as different to you. But this you need to explain to us a little bit more. When you say, yeah, we have a history of luxury, how does that hamper the growth of the luxury industry in this country?
Well, now, on one side, there is an infrastructure issue. You know, in how many places can you sell a luxury brand like ours? I think limited. So up to 6, maybe 10 stores you can go. If you want to think, you know, 50, 100 stores, forget about it. It will be a total failure. I mean, if you look at China today, we have 80 stores in PRC, in the Public Republic of China, and we are present in 35 cities, not only in first-tier cities, second-tier cities, third-tier cities, and fourth-tier cities. I'm leaving for China Sunday, and I'm going to visit the range of third and fourth-tier cities I've never visited. Cities between 2 and 5 million inhabitants.
You mean you're seeing continued potential in China, even after opening as many stores as you have?
Yes, I see that there is a quicker evolution into the luxury scene, surely in China.
But many luxury brands are talking about some level of saturation in the Chinese market.
Yes, yes.
And which is why you're seeing countries like India as the next big potential market of growth.
No question. I see both things. I think that luxury in China keeps growing because the luxury done in big cities can be transferred into less important cities. Because, you know, why should I keep traveling to buy that brand in the large city if I can buy it at home? And I lived in America quite a while, and I created Zegna America many years ago, and I've seen that happening in America too. Now, today you have online. You say, okay, why should I have a store there if I have online capabilities? So that's another part that maybe we can discuss later. But coming back to India, I think that surely infrastructure, the fact that there are not enough luxury mall like the one, you know, that you find at Emporium in Delhi, or the one at Pavilion in Bombay.
Mall in Mumbai. Yes.
I think there is a limited potential of what you can do in beautiful hotel like this, in Oberoi or the Taj, because, you know, the retail area is limited, because the traffic is limited. And right now, you know, it's hard to open store at the street level. So I think that.
What about the Hermes kind of model, where they're thinking of the potential of setting up a store in a central area, and it's a standalone store, and that gives them prominence, if nothing else. At this point in time, it seems it's more about being able to establish your presence and saying, look, we are a big luxury brand, and we're here in India.
I think you have to ask Hermes that. I can't answer for them.
No, but would you consider something like that?
I don't know. You know, it's one of the considerations that we are making. But, you know, each brand is different, and so how much you want to display of your brand within the store. So let me put it this way: after almost 10 years, because the first step was not very serious. It was a trial, and it pulled us back. So I would consider that, you know, we became serious about India 2006 when we entered direct. I think that, you know, we are still learning, and we are still looking to find the right business model, just by trying to make up the best of our values and the best of our brand has to offer. For sake of argument, we have been perceived more as a clothing brand from the beginning. We are today a more lifestyle brand. I mean, if I tell you across the world, clothing is 40% of the total business. We have grown a lot in accessories, we have grown a lot in sportswear. We are becoming very well known for personalization project, you know, that we can go to people's home without having them come to our store.
Sure.
So it's like a quick, special service that we bring them. So I think this is all that we have to foster.
We're talking about diversification, Mr. Zegna, and at that point in time, I wanted to ask you this as well, where core competence comes from making these amazing fabrics that you do create, and some of these fabrics go out to the biggest brands out there as well. You supply them, yes? And some would say that sticking to core competence would be the best way to go, and yet there was diversification, which you're saying has really paid off.
Yeah.
How did that argument win in your head to be able to go that route?
I think that...
Because accessories, there's a partnership with Carl Zeiss, I understand, as well.
Partnership
You're getting Carl Zeiss, the eyewear
Yeah,
yes?
there you go. No, Estée Lauder in fragrances,
And
Gérard Perregaux in watches.
Yes, so it's growing.
No question about it. I think that you need a brand extension, but you can still be core business. Zegna is strictly men's. Within the men's field, provided you keep the top position, the luxury position, which we are, with all the luxury ingredients, with all the service ingredient that we are well known for, with the consistent distribution and marketing policies, selective, because we don't sell to the very many and we don't discount. This, to me, is what makes the brand genuine, real, and true luxury. And so the idea is to bring the same ingredients to your beautiful country, but being local, understanding what the local rules of the game are and adjust. And so, to answer your initial question, we are still in the adjusting stage in order to find the right business model in India that will help us growing quicker than we are doing right now. Mind you, we have been growing double digit in the past 3 years, so it's not that we don't grow in India. But from 5 stores, we go to 10 stores, we'd like to ponder, consolidate, getting the business model right 100% for the luxury Indian model, and then move onwards.
I was looking up on Facebook as well. Your biggest fan base is in Italy right now. But if I look at, like a Louis Vuitton has a fan base penetration of 1.9% in India. Roberto Cavalli has 2.5%. Zegna in India has a fan base of 5.24%. If I was just to look at your Facebook fan base.
So you have more information than I have.
There you go.
So how do those numbers read to you?
The numbers are still very small because in India you have 65 million people using Facebook.
Yeah.
And when you look at a penetration that is as limited as 5.24%, that does seem limited. What do you account that to? Because when you talk about brand awareness in terms of being able to reach out to a potential audience, a very aspiring audience at this time.
I think we have lots of work to do, and that's why I'm here, and that's why we are launching a project that has nothing to do with fashion, that has to do with art, and has to do with other values than fashion, which is Zegna art. And to be honest with you, probably, we had so many priorities to take care first that, that now India is becoming a priority, and surely we are going to be focused more on this market than we have been in the past. How many things can you do together?
Right.
And to be honest with you, another good reason, I'm not trying to make any excuse because I don't have to be defensive on this, is the crisis. Don't forget that the 2008 and 2009 crisis was a nightmare. So
for your company in particular? I mean, of course, we know of everything else that's happened. How did it affect your company?
I think for everybody. And so there was a risk in which you had to really focus on your core business, and maybe in that phase, India was not the priority. And so we left maybe some momentum. And 2 years of that are not easy, because America was totally a shock. Japan was a shock. And we are talking about 2 out of the top 3 markets, and so we had to refocus those 2 markets, and we have to divert our investment. We had to concentrate our resources in those organizations, and thank God we came out pretty good. Actually, we came out healthier than before.
But was the trouble more pronounced with yours being a privately run enterprise?
I don't think so.
No? It was about the same all across?
I think that, no, I think that we came out better and quicker than many others because we had no debt.
Right.
And because we were able to take the right decision at the right time. I remember a legendary board was October of 2008, in which, we have a family board, but I have a real board, with 4 independents. And I came in and said, listen, I think it's getting really serious. October 2008, not October 2009.
Right.
because I was feeling the pinch already from Japan, from United States in particular, because in the United States it started before.
Sure.
And I said, I think that the resources we decided to deploy in Europe and America, let's stop them and let's put them all in Asia. It was the smartest decision we could ever take. The board said, okay, let's go ahead. But if it was a different board, it would have said, forget about it. We stop all the resources. You know, the resources I'm talking about, investment.
Right. Don't make any investments right now
stop
at
the
all.
Investment for the next 6 months and wait. Instead, we said, they went with a proposal, move all the investment that we plan to do in America and the United States and in Europe to Asia. And I think that was very, very, very helpful, because Asia, besides Japan, was not hit by the crisis as Europe and the United States, and came out much quicker.
Right.
And that really gave the spin in our growth and brought Asia to 50% of the total business.
50%?
Today, Asia is, including India, is 50% of the total business.
And how much does India contribute within that 50%?
It's very small. I mean,
very, very small.
Negligible.
Mr. Zegna, at this point in time, for the growth of the Indian luxury market, what do you see as the biggest hurdles?
Infrastructure.
In terms of real estate not being available?
In terms of real estate, in terms of creating the right atmosphere, creating the right sites in order to put together the right portfolio of luxury brand, whether they are men's, whether they are women, whether they are accessories, whether they are design, whether they are, jewelry. And I think that this is, we need more luxury malls or center in which people shop and have fun. I think that shopping has to become more of an hobby, and I think this is you have to create the right ambience, and it's up to us to create with them the right experience. Right. And I do understand there are projects that at least there are talks of new project coming up, which I favor 100%, and surely that would favor that very, very much.
So you think that's the center of the problem?
To me, that's the most important thing right now.
Right. Mr. Zegna, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thanks indeed for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
I appreciate it.